All right, we're about to tackle one of the biggest what-ifs in science fiction becoming a reality. We're not just going to visit a new world, we're going to build one from the ground up. Welcome to your new mission, Terraforming Mars. So picture this. It's the 2400s. You're standing on the surface of Mars, and all you can see is this vast, beautiful, but totally desolate red landscape. Back on Earth, the world government has given the green light, and massive corporations are starting to pour in, ready to kick off the project of a lifetime, making this planet habitable. And that's where you come in. You're not just watching this happen, you are at the helm of one of these powerful corporations. Now, you'll be working with your rivals to get the job done, but let's be real, you're also competing. You want to be the one that history remembers as the true pioneer of Mars. So, what does making Mars livable actually mean? Well, it's a shared goal. Everyone at the table is working together to hit 3 key targets. Once all 3 are met, the job's done. Let's break down what those targets are. First things first, it is cold. We need to warm this place up a lot. The goal is to raise the average temperature all the way to a cozy plus 8 degrees Celsius. Every time you help do this, you get to increase your Terraform Rating, or TR. And your TR is everything. It's your income, and it's your base victory points at the end. Super important. Next up, we need to be able to, breathe. The second goal is to pump up the atmosphere with oxygen until it reaches a nice, breathable 14%. And just like with raising the temperature, every time you help out, you get to bump up that all-important Terraform rating. And finally, you can't have life without water. The third big goal is to get 9 massive ocean tiles down onto the Martian surface. And you guessed it, placing an ocean is a huge deal that gives a nice bonus to whoever does it, including another boost to their TR. You hit all 3 of those goals, and bam, you've done it. You and your competitors have collectively turned this barren rock into a living, breathing world. It's a new home for humanity. But here's the real question. Whose corporation is going to get all the credit? Okay, so that's the mission. How in the world do you actually pull it off? Well, you're going to be juggling a whole bunch of different resources and, most importantly, playing project cards to build your terraforming engine. You'll be tracking 6 key resources. MegaCredits are your cash, simple as that. Steel and titanium are special materials for building things. Plants let you create greenery, which helps raise that oxygen level. Energy is used to power certain cards and abilities, and any energy you don't use at the end of a round gets converted into heat, which you save up to warm the planet. Now, let's zoom in on steel and titanium, because this is a big deal. These aren't just regular resources, they're basically corporate discounts. When you play a card with a building icon, each steel you spend is worth 2 MegaCredits. And for cards with a space icon, each titanium is worth an incredible 3 MegaCredits. Using these 2 resources efficiently is absolutely key to getting ahead. But your number one tool, the real heart and soul of the game, are the project cards. There are over 200 of them, and each one is unique. They let you do everything, and I mean everything. From smashing a giant asteroid into Mars to build up heat, to introducing microbes, or even starting up a colony of ants. This is how you'll build your engine and ultimately win the game. So, you've got your goals, your resources, your cards, but how does it all come together? Well, the game plays out in a series of rounds, but here they're called generations, and each generation flows through 4 very distinct phases. The flow is really easy to remember. First, the start player just passes to the left. Second, research. You draw new project cards. But, and this is important, you have to pay to keep the ones you want. Third is the main event, the action phase. This is where you do all your stuff. And finally, the production phase. That's payday, where you collect all the resources your engine has generated. So that action phase is where all the, action is. Players go around the table taking 1 or 2 actions at a time until everyone passes. You can play a card, use one of the standard projects that are always available, claim a milestone, fund an award, turn in 8 plants to place a greenery tile, or cash in 8 heat to raise the temperature. Oh, and you can also use special actions on some of the cards you've already played. There's a ton you can do. Okay, so we've covered the rules, the what you can do. But now let's get into the good stuff, the how and the why. We're shifting from the basics into real strategy. This is how you go from just playing to actually playing to win. Probably the best way to kick off a strategy talk is by asking one simple question. What are the biggest mistakes new players make? Seriously, if you can just avoid these common traps, you're already halfway to being a pro. So here they are. First, ignoring those milestones. They are a race for cheap points, and you need to be in that race. Second, not building up your economy early. You have to spend money to make money, so focus on getting your production tracks up. Third, you've got to watch the pace of the game. If one player is just slamming the temperature track, the game will end way faster than you think. Also, never ever forget your TR is both your income and your score. And finally, you have to get tiles on the planet itself. You can't win from space alone. Let's really drill down on milestones and awards because they're critical. Think of them as limited time offers for big victory points. There are only 3 of each up for grabs. Milestones are a sprint. The first player to achieve a goal like having 3 cities can just claim it. Boom, done. Awards are more like a bet. You pay to fund a category, like who has the most science tags. And at the end of the game, the top players in that category get points. Either way, they are some of the most efficient points you can get. Be aggressive. So, as all these corporations are taking actions, building their engines, and competing for awards, you're all collectively pushing the planet towards being habitable. And eventually, those combined efforts will pay off, and the great work will be done. The end of the game is triggered the moment that the third and final global parameter gets maxed out. As soon as the last ocean is placed, the temperature hits its peak, or the oxygen track is full, whichever happens last, the end is near. Now, you still finish the entire generation, including one final production phase, and then it's time for the final count. So how do you figure out who won? It's pretty straightforward. First, your Terraform rating is your starting score. Then, you add all the points you got from milestones and awards. After that, you get a point for every greenery tile you own, plus points for your cities, especially if they're next to all that greenery. And last, you go through every single card you played and add up any victory points printed on them. Tally it all up, and the highest score wins the glory. You know, when it's all said and done, you realize you're doing more than just moving cubes and counting points. You're telling this incredible, epic story of humanity's next giant leap. It's not just about which corporation won. It's about who guided mankind into a new home among the stars. The only question left is, when the history of Mars is written, will it be your corporation's name on the first page?